I saw a bunch in the field. Not sure how they've been performing, but I don't think I've seen a bunch in the top. So I'm still holding out hope. We'll see some day 2
I feel you. I mean, I was an early Dialga believer.
Oh,
I was hoping that somebody would figure out a recipe to take 2 turns in a row and just win. But the field has just really evolved, I think, despite our pet decks maybe not seeing as much play. The players are still finding some spice, finding those ways to counter. And as Chip just said, Lugia rumored to be one of the easiest to counter decks we've ever seen. And the players just have a multitude of ways to attack it. You're disrupting the Archeops, using paralysis to just exploit that. Even though what this deck does is strong, it's not possible for a deck to run tools against every possible outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many ways for Lugia to respond to decks and play whatever Pokemon they want to have that response, But heading into a lot of mirror matches, which I'm sure people in the field are dealing with, that we're probably going to see a lot of in day 2 potentially as well, looking at the standings so far. A lot of Lugias succeeding out there, which is nice because we've got to mix it up a little bit on stream there. But yeah, so it's really going to come down again to these minute decisions, which Pokemon they decide, especially for the mirror match, what is going to set them over the edge to take these Ws.
Yeah, and speaking of the mirror match, we're heading down to the table, and that's what we have slated for you beautiful folks at home. We've got our upcoming match ready to go. The players are set down, getting all shuffled up. It is indeed a Lugia mirror. We've got Josh Fernando and Arjun Khadse. Excuse me, it's Khadse, I believe.
All right.
They'll correct me. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that Boo has segued us perfectly into when you have to play your strong deck versus your opponent's strong deck, you can't just prep the counters. You have to prep the mirror match. And I don't believe Lugia has begun to quite adapt to the mirror. A lot of players have just so far been willing to take the coin flip.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Knowing that you're going to go against the mirror, I'm sure they're practicing a lot. So here are our players preparing. I know Josh Fernando, I've heard from the grapevine, was pretty successful in the seniors division. So now joining us on the stream in the masters division, both Arjun and Josh 5-0 here, heading into our Swiss round 6, both opting to play that super powerful Lugia deck. And like I said before, Skarsgård, it is just gonna come down to those little techs in the deck.
Ooh, and a mulligan coming down. Josh can be able to start with an extra card already taking the count, putting the die there on top of the deck.
Yep, there we go. That is definitely what you want to see.
All right. And we do have, and we also just, I always try to pronounce the players' names correctly. It is Khadse.
Okay, there you go. I think that's what you said, Skarsgård. So there we have it. So yeah, like both these decks, it's going to come down to what the variations are in the decks. You can play all sorts of different types of energy for both these players. So we're going to see how that plays into this. Of course, the coin flip is huge, whether or not you're going first or second, whether or not you're able to discard your Archeops on your first turn, which is so essential before any sort of disruption potentially happens from your opponent. You want to set up as well as you can while also making sure you kind of have the upper hand on your opponent. So we could see some potential Marnies there to throw things for a loop.
If you can get your Archeops in the discard pile and then Marnie your opponent before they have a chance to get their Archeops discarded, you're just going to run away with the game. It is my hope as a caster that we get a nice even game, and then we're going to get some minute math around the V-Guard energy and the powerful energy.
Oh no.
2 Archeops in the prizes for Josh.
Not even that, but 3 Aurora energy in the prizes for Arjun here. Oh my goodness. Speaking of energy and how important it is to this deck, in order to have all of your Pokemon work together, you need different types of energy sometimes. So that is definitely not what you want to see being a Lugia player.
If both players just prize everything important and just have a brick fest, it still counts as an even match. But Arjun getting the turn 1 attachment on a Stoutland V, not too threatening as of yet, but with the powerful colorless energy boosting that damage. If Josh goes off to a very slow start being with those Archeops in the prize cards, maybe Stoutland does get a double dip Fangs on a V.
So this is kind of Well, starting off with the capture energy here for Arjun, super important here, keeping that consistency within the deck. I don't think it's great starting with the Stoutland V, not really a card you want to utilize when you're in the mirror match. So I would think, of course, it comes into play when you're taking out one prizers to really capitalize on that, but could be just a potential liability. 210 HP, that is like not a lot of HP there for you, so it could be a huge liability there.
Yeah,
Arjun
maybe starts to sculpt a game plan around this. You know, if you are not taking a one-hit knockout on a Pokemon, maybe you're okay with that because you now have the threat of Stoutland V. And Oranguru is going to do a really nice job of trying to manipulate the hand, but no Archeops, just one so far in the discard pile I think I see there. And over to Josh. There's 4 in the deck list, of course, but 2 in the prizes, so very low odds of being able to find those.
Yeah, that is very, very difficult. And that is why so many players opt to play a full 4 line of Archeops for that exact reason. So Josh relying on that, having 4 Archeops in the deck. So there is at least going to be still outs there. And of course, both players starting with that capture energy too. Arjun getting that Archeops into the discard pile is huge, making sure there's at least some energy acceleration that's going to be able to happen as soon as possible. You know, you want the upper hand as much as you can in this match, taking out prize cards very consistently. But another huge part of that is going to be having 2 Archeops, because there's a lot of matches where if you only have one and you can't accelerate enough energy to all of these late game attackers like Radiant Charizard and such, you're going to be in a very difficult position. So that is very important here. Josh Fernando putting down another Lugia V, getting set up there on the bench.
Hopefully, it might come down to just a manual attachment sort of game plan here. We got the choice belt going on to the Lugia V. After Josh looked through the deck, thanks to that capture energy, saw there's only 2 Archeops. Now just go for Professor's Research, going to draw 7, has to find it, no Archeops.
Wow, so not only are you using the Professor's Research and not able to discard the Archeops with it, which is the goal, but also not even finding the ability to put that, or get an Archeops in the discard pile at all for the turn.
Yeah, so just goes for a Read the Wind, gets rid of the Dunsparce, not really needed for the mirror match to draw a few more cards. And Arjun opening up with another Quick Ball. You discard 1 card from your hand, then search your deck for another basic Pokemon.
Yeah, absolutely. So Arjun here, as we see from both players, choice belts have come down. That's pretty relevant in this matchup. Well, depending on the attackers that you're using. So Stoutland having one actually does feature some utility there. But so here we go. Arjun already has that Archeops, the first Archeops in the discard pile. So we'll see how this lines up. The Luminian V was just played, taking out that Marnie, and this is exactly what I was talking about, Skarzig, with the Marnie. You want to disrupt your opponent as much as possible, but on the opposite side of this, Josh also didn't have an Archeops. I mean, there is a lot of cards in hand for Josh, but Arjun choosing to use this Marnie anyway and disrupt Josh's hand and give as little cards as possible to Josh to have to deal with, to hopefully whiff on some of those resources needed to take the upper hand in this match.
Yeah, after the Professor's Research and the Read the Wind, you've got to shrink that hand back down. Even if the Archeops comes down at this point, you know, with the Stoutland slowly getting powered up, with the Lugia V set up, things could get pretty dicey regardless. Arjun also going to evolve into the Lugia V Star. The Archeops just isn't quite assembled yet. Has to find a way to get this other Archeops into the discard pile. Arjun might feel comfortable enough from this position to go for just the 1.
No, I don't think so. There's Ultra Ball in hand and there's an Archeops in hand too.
Okay.
So I would assume that Arjun wants to make sure that that Archeops is hitting, because as I said, you need maximum capability with your deck here. But having to discard as well to the Ultra Ball, that Yveltal.
So yeah, decides to keep the Serena, discard the Yveltal.
Yeah, so the Yveltal is actually, I'm sure that's why there was so much debate there from Arjun. That's huge. There's only 1 in deck as well for Arjun, so having that hit the discard pile, hopefully there's some way to bring it back potentially in the list. But if not, that's definitely a big attacker to go into the discard pile for sure.
Yeah, so the Ultra Ball finds Radiant Charizard. This will be a nice stand-in for the Evital. Doesn't have that amazing destruction anymore to get that one-hit knockout. And goes for the Summoning Star just to get the one Archeops. Arjun going to try to play for tempo here. You don't have now the ability to quickly power up additional attackers, as you had mentioned, Shelby, but just going to try to go all in with the Stoutland V, maybe get the Double Dip Fangs, or maybe get this Lugia V-Star powered up eventually.
Yeah, most definitely. And we are going to see, it is a DTE, but a powerful energy as well with that colorless. So that is going to be enough with the Choice Belt to take the knockout there on that Lugia V. So as we were saying, Stoutland is a potential liability in this matchup. It also does have the capability powered up with those powerful energy and, of course, that Choice Belt
the
to
classic,
take
Wild
knockouts.
Tackle. I'm so focused on the Double Dip Fangs, but it could just deal damage. And so Josh has one more turn to make something happen here. Aurora attaches directly from the hand, so you can discard one. That's an Archeops in the discard pile. Professor's Research to discard 2 more and draw 7. I just saw the 4th Archeops hit the hand. Can Josh get this into the discard pile and bring this back with a clutch Summoning Star?
It is just so unfortunate.
There it is.
There we go. Quick ball for that Archeops, but honestly, being so behind in tempo, as you mentioned before, Skarsgård, and also we've seen a lot of discard here already from Josh, so having to sacrifice so many resources so early game is really tough, especially when you're grinding through a mirror match and need to get those resources later in the game to kind of pull off a lot of these plays. But what Josh has that Arjun does not is that Evital.
Beautiful. The amazing Evital, amazing destruction, 5 energy, a completely, blasphemous distribution to try to get that equipped. But, yep, now we have the Lugia V-Star. There is the Summoning Star ability, going to get those Archeops from the discard pile back onto the bench. And now we've got Primal Turbo online for some attachments to try to keep up in this game.
Yeah, most definitely. So right now, I mean, there's plenty of Pokemon on the board for Josh to target down here. It's just really going to be what is the strategy. Like we mentioned, that Evital is on board as well for Josh to be able to just really knock out anything on Arjun's side as well. So it's really just going to come down to what the sequence is to map out these prize cards, especially already being behind 2 prize cards from Arjun's side as well. It was just so delayed getting those Archeops out, and that's not what you want to see from the Lugia's perspective.
Right. But now that Josh was kind of able to hang on by a thread here and finally get this engine up and running. Arjun, you have to remember, has 3 Aurora energies in the prize card, so that's even less options to be able to pivot to the next attacker once the Stoutland V goes down.
Yeah, so we did see 2 energy, an Aurora and that Heat Fire energy, which isn't going to have the effect on the Evital because it is dark, but it still gives that fire energy, which is really important. So now we are seeing that knockout there on to the Stoutland with that double turbo and, of course, 2 other energies applying that damage. Like I said, 210 HP is not difficult at all for that Lugia to deal with that. So taking those 2 prize cards as well for Josh, tying it up here. So now we have to see what Arjun's response is. But the thing Lugia has is, usually Radiant Charizard is kind of a late game sort of Pokemon, but you could be using it as early as turn 2 or turn 3 in this Lugia deck because of these Archeops. That allow you to power it up. So that's what we are going to be seeing right now. A Twin Energy and an Aurora Energy being pulled out as well, putting on to that Radiant Charizard.
All
and
right,
a double
and then
turbo.
the attach, just the attach and the discard needs to find the second choice belt here to attach to the Radiant Charizard to get this KO. Evolution Incense. I don't know if this is going to do it. I didn't see the choice belt there. Is it in the prizes? No. Arjun, I think, is playing towards the line. I think he sees it. Anything? Quick ball, just thinning. It is still in the deck. I just got a glimpse of it.
All right.
Pulls a Luminion V. Do we have just a little bit more card draw here to get the KO from the Radiant Charizard? If you attach all of this energy and you don't get the knockout and Lugia is able to get one more swing, it's going to be massive for Josh here.
There's Primate Wisdom, at least. Drawing another card?
Boss's Orders.
Oh man,
So
so
close.
being able to pull off the Radiant Charizard, but only for that 250, so just shy, lacking that choice belt there from the Radiant Charizard, not able to take the knock, so now it is over, back to Josh. That's actually a huge miss, unfortunately, for on Arjun's side. As I said, you want to keep up the pace, you want to be taking knocks as often as possible, utilizing your Pokemon as well as you can. Of course, Arjun only working right now with a single Archeops on the bench, which, as we said, can get you into a little bit of a pickle here and there. Of course, still being able to manually attach the energy as well is big, but now it's over on Josh's side here with this damaged Lugia, but still able to swing. So kind of just being able to line up the hand for whatever Josh really wants to target down here.
The Lugia V could, the V-Star could just swing here, take another prize. This is another rep of the Archeops to have another attacker ready to go. Typically, of course, you want to save that Evitel for kind of your finisher. No matter what your opponent's going to promote into the active, you're going to be able to take it down. Or, you know, is this Lugia V-Star going to retreat, make Arjun work really hard to claim those final 2 prize cards?
Yeah, there is potential. I mean, you can hit so heavy with Lugia V-Star. If you have 4 powerful colorless, you could be doing 300 damage with it, and that's excluding a choice belt as well. So that is definitely, there's a lot of damage to be outputted by this Lugia still. We're just going to have to see if Josh chooses to still swing in with it, which is most likely what's going to happen because, as we said, this deck lacks a lot of switching options. It will easily take out this Radiant Zard, which is really good to have in the discard, especially because Arjun doesn't have the Evital. We saw it hit. I mean, Josh doesn't know that Arjun only plays 1, but we do. So
yeah, exactly. And I think that's like
huge.
pretty typical to only have the 1. I think there are some Lugia players that are running the 2. They love having the ability to just have the 1-hit knockout. But yeah, this Evitel is now all powered up, and it looks like Josh might just be going for that line anyway. You get your knockout. You get to promote a single prize attacker instead. We know that Serena was grabbed off of Lumineon V. We could see a Gust on one of these other V Pokemon to take a couple more prizes this turn, and that is the play.
Yeah, taking those 2 prize cards, that is huge. I mean, that's just another 2 prize cards down, still leaving Arjun with the Radiant Zard with the energy already on it. So, but yeah, taking those 2 prize cards and just lining up for the finale here with that fully loaded Evital on the bench there for Josh that can just knock out anything and take a win. So the writing is on the wall here for Josh in these next turns. And I don't know exactly how Arjun is going to come back from this.
Yeah, promoting the Oranguru, going to try to just buy one more turn by promoting a single prize. Going to get a power-up going, but just whiffing on that choice belt meant that Arjun's tempo completely evaporated in this matchup. I really appreciate the decision to go for the single Archeops play to try to take advantage of that early lead and try to snowball this game, and it just did not pay off. Josh with 2 Archeops in the prizes cards managed to find the remaining 2 and just get the full Lugia engine up and running.
Okay, so Arjun doing everything that they can at this point, taking that Lumineon out to search out that Marnie at as much disruption as possible here. But Josh's board state is just too solid right now. So I think we're going to see it conclude here in a second, but we'll see what Arjun decides to do for the rest of this game.
We do get the knockout, I believe, with the WAP down. That's only 2 capture attached with the Primal Turbo, so we need one more from hand.
Does do 70, but
there we go.
With the Evital on the bench, it's going to be tough. I mean, and if there's a gusting effect, that's really all that's needed for Josh in the next turn.
We have to disrupt with Marnie and just hope that there's not another way to get that, get something else up out of the bench, right? When we look at these decks, they run 2 Boss's Orders and then 1 Serena.
Yeah, so we are going to see that Marnie, so we'll see what is drawn into here from both players.
And now we just have to take a look at what Josh draws. If we have the Boss's Orders, we can pull up this Lumineon to get the remaining 2 prize cards with the Evital. There it is. No, it's wait. No, I thought I saw one. Ugh, it's close. I can't see. They're squeezing those cards so close, Boo.
I know.
Pull out your microscope. You got to tell me.
Exactly. Like you said, our players are playing close to the chest here. Okay, so let's see if there is the ability for Josh to have some sort of gust effect. Is that
Yep.
is that a Serena in hand?
Yep, pulls
there we
the
go.
Serena up, has the retreat
That was the
with the
top
Archeops.
deck too,
Wow.
Skarzig. The Serena was the top deck, I believe, for Josh there. So being able to access that gusting ability, retreat out of that just straight into the Yveltal to knock really whatever is there.
Beautiful, honestly beautiful game. We thought that Josh was kind of going to be out of it, not being able to get the Archeops set up, but made it happen, and also running the tech, right? Has 2 Boss's Orders and 2 Serena, where Arjun is only on 1 Serena. So having that extra swap, that extra gust is so important for fixing your prize map and being able to kind of close out. But this is still only the first game of 3. Arjun can very easily adapt, and we'll see if Arjun just says, you know, I got unlucky with the choice belt. I'm going to continue to try to play for tempo in this matchup, win that coin flip, or if we might see a more relaxed approach and focus much more heavily on getting the double Archeops setup.
Yeah, I think that's really important in this. There's just too many Pokemon that you need to power up. I guess maybe losing the Yveltal there, potentially just thinking, okay, well, they're most likely not going to target down my Archeops and just try to make the prize trade in different ways, potentially. But, I mean, even just having 1 Archeops down, that's pretty rough if you lose it. So that is just a liability within itself, too, potentially, if your opponent sees that. Because once you use that V-Star power, that's it. You know, you can't bring out more Archeops. It's a stage 2. You can't get it down. So that's definitely huge.
Prize is looking a little bit more stable. The Ultra Ball and the Professor's Researchers being prized are going to be really terrible for Arjun. Those are
definitely
the major ways that you discard those Archeops once you get them into the hand.
Yeah, so Arjun, even though being able to go first here, at least there's no mulligans. Did give an extra card to Josh in the last game there with that mulligan, but able to go first. But as you said, Skarzig, limited options with 2 of those Professor's Research in the discard as well as other discarding cards. That's in the later game, or you know, cards they use to discard, and if you're not able to access them, you're going to have a tough time. But there's still Ultra Ball. There's still other options to get those Archeops out. And 2 Evolution Incense is a very nice
you get to search your deck.
turn find to be able to just discard them without even needing a Professor's Research. And here we go. I mean, Primate Wisdoming that Aurora Energy to the top for a Marnie there. Of course, not able to play
has
it.
to kind of take the long way around. Evolution Incense gets the Archeops and the manual attach of the Aurora, so
That's
you can
huge.
discard it. And now we've got, with Primate Wisdom in the active, Arjun having that little bit of extra utility to look at an additional card is going to be great for completing this setup. Josh, meanwhile, finding the discarding the Stoutland V, has a Radiant Charizard in the active. Very awkward so far, but now going to take a look at the prize cards and knows, yes, the Archeops are indeed there, just has to make use of them.
Yeah, definitely quick balling out that Stoutland V, which, as we mentioned before, of course, Arjun had to start it in the last game, and it still was able to utilize it to actually take that big knockout on that Lugia V early game. But because Josh had set up those that Lugia, second Lugia V, knowing that that was a potential, just wasn't able to kick things off there.
Now, Josh has the Luminion V I'm seeing in the hand. Maybe fishes the Marnie, saw that Arjun had gotten that Archeops out of the deck with Evolution Incense, knows that it's still in the hand. You could just put that right back at the bottom of the deck, try to make him work that much harder to complete the setup with Summoning Star and buy a little bit more time here.
Yeah, it's pretty huge. Right now, Josh wants to get those Archeops into the discard and, like you said, have some sort of disruption, especially seeing that not both of those
the Marnie's
Archeops
already in the hand. You can save Luminion for later. Beautiful.
There we go. There we go. Here we see it. So here is the Marnie. So that Evolution Incense that was used to search out that Archeops, well, both Archeops for Arjun. Now both of those cards are essentially burned because they're back into the deck. At least Arjun was able to discard that first Archeops with the Aurora Energy, which was huge. And here we go. Josh is about to do the same. Aurora Energy discarding that Archeops. That is also big. So that is a mainstay here for both these players. Get those Archeops in the discard so I could power up my deck.
And the Radiant Charizard's not under any threat right now, so it can just kind of sit here.
Oh, no.
Arjun Professor's Research has to go digging in the deck now. Going to draw 7.
Yeah, like we said, the ideal is to be discarding
Okay,
things.
another evolution insets.
Oh,
We're going to get Archeops back out of the deck.
We're getting it back
you
out.
You can't keep Arjun down. A well-timed Marnie, but Arjun able to draw into the answer here.
Yes, and hopefully having a card to be able to discard it in the hand off of this Professor's Research, which, like I said, there's still plenty in the deck here, like a Quick Ball.
Yeah, so the other important thing to note is, yeah, the Archeops are in the discard pile, but all the Evolution Incense, 3 out of 4 being used, and that's going to make it harder to find Lugia V Star, so we can actually use the Summoning Star. So there is still a window of opportunity, right, for Josh to get an attacker powered up, maybe Serena this Lugia V to prevent that evolution.
Yeah, that's definitely a solid point to make for sure, because that is also very crucial to that, but also could have just have it in hand as well. So we shall see, and there is the Choice Ball in hand. 2 for Arjun, Radiant Zard. That Lugia V, was that down on the last turn, or was it just the Oranguru? I think that's actually the issue here for Arjun. That Lugia V, I don't even think was down. Yeah. Was it just the Oranguru and
It was just benched. Yeah, it was just Oranguru on turn 1. Lugia V gets benched. The Archeops are now in the discard pile, and Josh maybe can jump out here.
Wow.
Professor's Research hopefully gets Lugia V Star here.
Yeah, that's...
Ultra Ball with 2 Archeops, I believe, were just drawn out of the deck. So we can get the discard here and find the Lugia V Star.
So this is actually
beautiful.
Huge here. Yeah, Josh is playing this just like effortlessly right now. Everything is going to plan, and Arjun is just not able to put together these pieces in the deck. I mean, going first and even on turn 2, still not having your board set up. I mean, all we have is an Oranguru here and a Lugia V. Which is very tough to see. Josh is about to have everything needed, that V-Star, 2 Archeops out to power up whatever on the board state right now. And even if there is no sort of, I mean, you don't really want to be putting a ton of energy on the Radiant Charizard, but you can if you want.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well, I think. With the double Archeops, you can also get some manual attachments down, because you're just so far ahead from this position that you have that luxury.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be seeing here. Because
yeah, Oranguru, you can just throw the double turbo down, and there's no prize cards taken yet. So now we just need a little bit more. 5 energy now attached to the Radiant Charizard, so we can use Combustion Blast.
And that is all that's needed. Of course, it's not going to do that 250 because the double turbo is there, so we'll be doing 230, but still, that's enough to take down this Oranguru, and it's a fully loaded Charizard ready to go. I mean, I guess if you have the energy available to you, you might as well utilize it, especially if your opponent is struggling so much over here as well. And of course, Lugia doesn't usually have a ton of pivoting options as well, so of course that Radiant Zard having a retreat cost of 3, if you have no way to get out of it, then you are going to be attacking with it, so that is also a factor here for Josh. But still, Josh in an extremely powerful position here versus Arjun in this game.
And so if I'm looking across the table at this, Arjun's hand needs to basically have also the Lugia V Star to get the Archeops in play, to get a Primal Turbo for the next attacker to take over when this Lugia goes down. Lumineon V is going to hit the bench. Luminous Sign allows you to search your deck for a supporter and add it to your hand. We'll see what Arjun chooses at this point. Looks like a Marnie being eyeballed just to see a few more cards from the deck.
Yeah, it's a tough decision. Well, actually, not only that, but there was 2 Professor's Research in the prize cards, and then Arjun's also used one already. So there's no access to any Professor's Research. So Marnie is grabbed there. Of course, the supporter lines are very slim here for these Lugia decks. So Marnie, I believe, was the only supporter besides Boss and Serena that was even able to be grabbed. So if Arjun's hand is not the best position right now, which I don't think I think I've only seen that the Radiant Zard and the Choice Spell is in hand, but like you said, Scarza, we're going to need a lot more than that.
Yeah, a lot of hope is being shuffled into the deck right there after the Luminous Sign. We've got the Choice Bell onto the Charizard, the missing card from that first game's combo, the manual attachment of Aurora to discard the Quick Ball, and Marnie with an empty hand going to draw 5 here after Josh's hand goes down to the bottom of the deck.
Yep, of course. So let's see what this 5R, this is so important.
Lugia V-Star is found. All right, we're back online.
We are definitely back online, and I believe both of the Archeops were in the discard pile as well.
Yeah,
so we are going to
Josh made him work really hard for that, but they indeed did get to the discard pile.
But now it just comes down to, can I pick this game back up after being on the back foot for a majority of it? I mean, Josh is fully set up now, but there is still potential for Arjun to make a comeback. Of course, there's a lot of different Pokemon that Lugia plays. So there are some lines here that Arjun could potentially set up, but the biggest thing I think is also going to be, hoping your opponent misses a beat, and that's very difficult to do when you are a Lugia deck. Resources as well are very important for this matchup, and Josh having to commit so many energies onto the Radiant Zard, which is not usually what you want to do, of course, could potentially come back later in the game. You only have so many energies, so that could be a potential later as well.
Yeah, so powerful energy and capture energy going on to Lugia V-Star. You need 4 to use that Tempest Dive, and Charizard's going to go down, going to even up the prizes, and again, 5 energy going to the discard pile for Josh. It makes it a little bit harder to power up that next attacker when you need. However, there is still a powerful and V-Guard energy on Josh's Lugia V-Star, so that's probably going to be the next attacker we'll see in the active.
Yep, so here we go. All the energy attached onto this Lugia V-Star. So we are going to see that knockout.
Looking at the Yveltal, are the prizes there? I mean, there's an Aurora in the discard pile now. It's hard to say. You've got to keep a really tight track on how many energies you realistically have. And if Josh ironically waits too long, there might not be any energy left to power up the Yveltal.
Yeah, that definitely is something you do not want to make a mistake and miss on, because if you're stuck with the Yveltal and not able to attack with it, that is pretty rough. But I guess we'll see once the energy is starting to be picked out of the deck here from Josh from this first Archeops, but then we'll see what is actually left in the deck here as far as energy goes. So
the good news is that there's no V-Guard energy on the Lugia V-Star. Josh needs to find, there's already 1 powerful colorless energy on the Lugia. Needs to find maybe 2 more, or 1 in a Choice Belt. It's still very doable to get the knockout here.
Yeah, most definitely. I can't see what is being searched out here as far as energy. But of course, with the Archeops too, you only have the ability to attach the 2 energy onto 1 Pokemon. You can't split it. So that's why 2 Archeops is so important, so that you can vary your energy if needed. But it looks like just 1 is going to be placed on to that Lugia V-Star. Was it a capture? Yeah,
just a capture energy going onto the Lugia V-Star.
So yeah, there might be a scarcity of energy left in deck potentially for Josh. I believe there was a heat fire energy in the prize cards as well for Josh that I saw at the beginning of the match. So of course that Yveltal needs a fire and a psychic and a dark, which of course is covered sometimes with the Aurora energy, but we are going to see a manual attach of the capture energy as well from hand. So the V-Guard protecting a little bit of HP there for the Lugia V-Star, but also that powerful, that single powerful as well, taking extra damage.
Yeah, so just going to deal a little bit, not getting it's sort of a mirror of what we saw in game 1, right, where potentially Josh is unable to get the knockout on this Lugia V-Star, and Arjun gets another rep of being able to attack with it. The second Primal Turbo is using Aurora energy, and then the double Turbo now going onto the Yveltal to get a portion of that cost.
I believe if we see a... No. If we see a Choice Belt here, that would be knock, wouldn't it?
I think you're 10 short.
Okay, it might be. All right, so either way, choosing to gust up the Lumineon here with that Serena.
Yeah, so still gets the knockout regardless. I guess that's what Josh was going for then.
Just a different Pokemon. So still taking 2 prize cards in this match so far, which is huge. Taking down that Lumineon there, and Arjun choosing to promote that Radiant Charizard into the active position.
And now, after being sort of forced into a similar position in the first game, the X factor is this choice belt. This is what's really going to change the flow of the game. We've got the double Archeops now to attach to the Charizard. Josh has 3 prizes taken, so you don't have to put as many resources onto the Charizard to get this attack through, and we can try to take down this Lugia V-Star, take 2 prizes, and then we just have to get through, as it seems, just 1 Evital, and Josh is running out of attackers.
Running out of energy, I think, too. But
very true.
As you said, Skarsig, 3 energy less for that Combustion Blast. Of course, one of the energy has to be a Fire or an Aurora. That works,
there
too.
We go.
Which is what we're going to see here. Drawn out for Arjun onto that Radiant Zard. And, yeah, this is going to be actually huge for Arjun this turn. And I'm just wondering if Josh is running out or can close out this game with the resources left in deck. This is going to be a tight one.
If Radiant Charizard, can survive for 1 more turn, if Josh is running low on the energy to get the Evital set up and you miss that extra turn, then Arjun gets to, just retreat into another attacker because, again, Combustion Blast, Radiant Charizard can't attack 2 turns in a row. But now after the Marnie coming through as well, just going to disrupt it even further. I really like this position here. Arjun could very easily take this turn 2, this game 2. And Lugia V-Star goes down. 2 more prizes for Arjun, and now it's back over to Josh. Amazing Evital has to carry.
Yeah, that just shows you the power here of that Radiant Charizard. Why you play it in this deck. With a Choice Belt, you can just one-shot a Lugia V-Star, which is huge for Arjun, especially in this matchup. Tying the prize cards now, 3 for each player. Evital is going to come into active. Josh did draw into an Aurora energy, but of course, the monkey there is on bench for Josh as well. So if it is needed to be sought out of the deck, there is that capability there, which is a huge plus for a Rangaroo to have.
Yeah.
But we'll see if there is the rest of the energy in deck needed to power up this Evital to actually fire off here. It's costly. It's very costly, and when so many energy went down so early game, we'll see if Josh has the energy left.
Yep, so here we go, some powerful colorless energy. We still have to find, we've got 1 Aurora attached. We have to find 2 more Aurora because that heat energy is in the prize cards.
It's just tough, too, here for Josh's position because, yeah, look at this. The energy going down onto an Archeops. So even if Evital was able to be charged up, if there's no sort of gusting effect that can happen, you're knocking out the Charizard to take 1 prize card, but then what is your follow-up after that? So many resources have been burned through for Josh. This is going to be pretty tough here, but here we go. There's 3 energy, and there's that 2 Aurora there onto that Evital and a double turbo, but of course still needing 1 more, as you said.
Yeah, so there is the Aurora in the hand, but as you
and
said, Shelby,
there's that third.
Do you want to use it on the Charizard, right? You can maybe try to find Boss or Serena. Professor's Research has to be the play, so we know that this Lugia V-Star is not going to get gusted up.
No, the Charizard's gone. Charizard's gone in both of these players' scenarios right now.
Good.
So here we go. There was that third
I thought the Serena was
energy
being played, the Professor's Research was being played, but no, the Boss's is being played. The Professor's was discarded for the Aurora. Right.
Yes, yeah. So, but that is the energy requirement needed for this Evital, and being able to take out.
Oh, the heat energy is the last one. Fortunately, we do have the Auroras, though.
That Lugia V-Star hits the discard pile for Arjun. So Arjun still, like I said, has the ability to take. Really what we need to see is this Evital be knocked out this turn. Otherwise, it is going to be a very, very difficult year for Arjun.
You just got to buy yourself another turn, essentially. With 1 prize left for Josh, if you're able to gust anything up, you just knock it down with the Evital.
The capability is definitely still there, though, as long as there is enough. As long as you can pull the cards off. So Evital 110 HP, not a lot. Obviously, that Stoutland was just brought out as well, which definitely has the capability to hit that pretty easily as long as you're being charged up here, and that's exactly what's happening. So we have the double turbo as well as a hiding dark energy too. So with
very cute.
yeah, very cute. Yeah, to make sure you have pivots in deck as well. But of course, for the wild tackle, you need 4 energy. Double dip fangs only requires 3 here, but that is enough energy to pull off that wild tackle for the knockout on the Yveltal, which is huge here for Arjun. That's exactly what needed to happen to stay in this game. So now we are back over here to Josh's side, of course, powering up another attacker. Some people might not realize you can attack with Archeops.
Oh yeah,
well.
you know, it is a Pokemon. It can attack, has that speed wing attack, does 120, so can deal some chip to this Stoutland.
It actually has, I believe that's 2 powerful energy.
Oh, it's
is that 3 powerful?
3 powerful.
That's 180 there. And is there a choice belt?
All right, so the Stoutland V only has 210 HP.
Oh wait, there's only 1 prize card left, Scarza.
Yeah, the boss. Yeah,
that's
just
all
goes for
that
the
was
boss.
needed.
Yeah.
The boss for a really. I mean, you're hitting a knock.
I was hoping that this Archeops is just gonna
I was thinking that too.
transform and ascend and take down the Stoutland. But yeah, the boss was
huge.
there. Josh, again, running not only to boss but to Serena, has the ability to find the exact Pokemon you need to get the knockout. Not only is it great for disrupting certain single prize decks, but in these sorts of matchups where you have to take 2 prizes, 2 prizes, 2 prizes, having that extra gusting effect really pays off. Josh, showing us how it's done, right? That first game looked like it could go so awry, but Josh fought back in that first game, made it happen, and then took a beautiful game 2.
Yeah, and I'm sure it feels great to be undefeated coming into this regional so far for Josh. So that is awesome. You could see how excited they were already. But that is our first Lugia Mirror match in the books there, Scarsing.
Yeah, and I think that for this Lugia Mirror, we just got a great showcase of what the deck can do when it pops off, what the deck struggles with in order just to get set up in general, and even when things get a little bit muddy during the mid game, there is still a lot of decisions to be made about when and where you're attaching those energies, and the prize cards become so important because you have to pivot your matchups and your ideas depending on what the prize cards, just like any Pokemon deck, but I think Lugia specifically, because you're so bent on getting the Archeops and then getting them in the discard pile, it can get so awkward. And then the triple Aurora